Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be showing you how to shave your Newfoundland dog. This is Odin. He is about 7 or 8 years old, Newfoundland. Odin, lay down. Good boy. You're a good boy. Why would you want to do this? It costs, here in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's cheapest we could find is about $150 to shave and have a Newfoundland shave. So I said, well, I'm going to learn to do it myself. So I went out and bought a nice pair of shears. These are better than your garden variety. These are like a step up from the home haircutting kits. And what you want to get, because breeds like Newfoundland have a undercoat, so you need to get a skip tooth blade. So I'm using I have a Wahl KM2 cutter here. The blades are Cryogen X Oster 7. 7 is I think it produces an 1/8 of an inch cut. And as you can see, I'll try to zoom in there. You can see every other tooth is a half tooth. It's called a skip tooth blade. Without a skip tooth blade, you are not going to cut through their undercoat, period. So, and if you want to, they have final cut blades. There might be like little grooves that you'll notice, but within a couple days those grooves grow out. So all I use is a skip tooth blade. Okay, Odie, you stay. Now he's used to this because he's been doing it for, I've been cutting him down since he was a baby. So he's used to it. If you try this with your dog, they're of course going to be skittish. My suggestion is just start with the back, stay away from like maybe his belly and stuff, and just start with his back, and maybe just do a little bit one day, and each time you do it, it'll get easier and easier. Here Odin starts to get hot, and when he gets hot, he starts to get hot spots. And so his hair is not fully grown out, but he is due for a cut here. As I can see from this, he's been licking himself right here. Before I start cutting, I'm going to use clipper oil, and just going to put a dab here on each side. That helps keep the blades cool while you're cutting. I'm going to start with his foot here. I'm going to grab his foot and just go with the contour of his skin. I'm gonna try to give you guys a close-up of what's going on here. He's still a little jitterish. He always has been. He probably always will be, but he trusts me. And, I just try to calm him and soothe him as much as possible. These blades are not sharp, just the front is sharp, although it's not gonna, you just want to follow the contour of his body. You want to stay calm, because if you're nervous, you'll make the dog nervous. Good boy, Odie, yeah. Good boy, yeah. So you can see I got his shank there. I'm going to grab his leg here so he knows I'm in control. And I'm going to do the back of the back here. Just real smooth, follow the contours. You're not digging in. The sharp points are not digging into his skin. Those sharp points are just cutting through the undercoat. So having the thing at the right angle, just like when you're shaving or anything else, you want to follow the contour. Each time you do it, it'll get easier. And like I said, take the small wins. Even if you don't get a full cut all at once, take the small win. Of course, I always try to cut against the grain of the hair. You're obviously going to get a closer cut if you cut against the grain, but there's certain spots where it's difficult to do that. Here's another thing. I only flip the dog once. Okay, so while he's on this side, I'm going to take that opportunity to cut the inside of this leg here. So as you can see, I'm going to do what I can. Wherever you are, just do what you can. Like here I am, and I'm going to be real careful around his wazoo here. And you can see he's a little, you don't like that too much. Good boy, Odie. But I'm going to get the inside of this leg. When I flip him over, I will have another chance to get the inside of this leg. I'm pushing his tail out of the way here. Well, it's okay. It's okay, Odie. It's okay. Lay down. So I made him nervous there, you can see. They're of course nervous about their private parts. Okay, so we'll get his tail here. So what I did is I'm just going to skip that area for now. Sometimes you get, you get different chances and different angles here. But just whatever you do, you gotta stay calm, keep the dog calm. Take those little wins, like I said, And by the way, if you get 95% of the dog shaved, and he has a little bit of hair in his undercarriage, that's still 95% of the job done. It's a great job. So, I'm going to try to get that little bit, try this again, see if he's going to let me. Good boy, Odie. Good boy. On his tail, I leave the end of his tail. It kind of does like a line cut. Here, I'm going to get the inside of his tail. Once again, you got to be careful. Don't dig those points into his wazoo. And then I'm doing this indoors. We call this the dog room. It's supposed to be the dining room, but you can barely fit a table in here. So we just made it the dog room, and that's what we call it anyways. There's just a rug in here, and I'll just use the comb here, and I'm just going to comb out the carpet. At the end, I will vacuum the carpet. As I go along, this is kind of complete grooming service here, so I will brush his tail. I don't cut the hair on his feet, or his lower feet, I don't know what this is called, but I kind of like it there. Kind of goes with his line cut. But I do brush out any of the hair that I do leave. I'm going to brush out. Boom. So now his whole hind section here is done. I'm going to move the camera a little bit here for you guys. Scoot this over here. So now that's section 1. So now we're going to do the midsection here. There's kind of 3 sections per side. Start at the middle here. His back is probably the easiest place. The easiest thing to cut is the back. When you guys first start, if you want to get into this, you want to first start doing it, start with the back. And, it's by far the easiest to cut. I'll come back and finish the back there. Here is what I like to do for the lower belly here is I'm going to start in the center. So his sternum here, and I'm just going to make a cut along his belly here. And I'm going to cut this way. Again, I like to cut against the hair. Okay, here we go. You can see this is where he's been chewing on his belly because he's hot. There's a big black dog in the heat. I hope this turns out good on the video with the black dog. If not, I'll refilm it next time I do it. This is my first time making a video, a dog cutting video. When my wife takes Odin to the vet, they're like, oh my god, who cuts your dog? And she says, well, my husband does. And here I'm going to try to get that inside leg again. Lift his leg up a little bit. See what I can get there. Like I said, some areas I only get 95%. You can always come back. Like here, there's little bits. You know, you can always come back. Sometimes you got to hit the same area from 2 different directions, or you know, use it. You gotta just look at it, eyeball it. Sometimes there's grooves in them that are hard to like get in that groove without digging the dog. Well, when that happens, don't dig the dog. You know, just get what you can. Be happy with the 95 percentile, because I promise you at the end it's going to look really good. I'm going to do another cleanup here. I'm going to zoom in a little closer for you guys. Here I'm going to brush the floor. I'm also going to clip his nails, but that's going to be a separate video. I'm going to bring you guys down closer here. See if we can get closer here. Sorry, I don't have a cameraman. It takes about 45 minutes to do the whole dog. Okay, so now, I also leave the hair on his forearms. I like that hair. It kind of goes with the line cut. So you can see, I'm going to follow his sternum up to his neck. And I'm going to get all the way up into his armpits until the blade touches, but I'm not pushing hard. I just want to get as far as I can. Because you notice that area gets red underneath his armpits. Obviously there's a lot of heat and moisture there, and that's what causes the hot spots. I think, I'm not a vet, but the heat and the moisture seem to be like a bacterial cesspool for skin infections for these dogs. Now I'm going to grab his arm here, let him know I'm in control. You could, if you want to leave a mane on him, you would leave everything above his shoulder to do more of a male lion cut. I like that style cut. Oh, he's sick. But I like the look of it. But for Odin, we have to cut off as much hair as possible to get him to keep him cool. So in the winter, maybe when it gets colder, I could leave his mane, and he'll look completely like a lion. This is all the mane right here. Everything above his upper shoulder. I'm sure there's people out there that shave lambs and sheep that are way better than this than I am, because they probably do it every day, you know. But my goal is to show you that anybody can do this at home. You know, this is not rocket science. I have worked with a few friends' dogs, but it's hard sometimes because the more the dog knows you and trusts you, they don't like the sound of the clippers, obviously. They get scared. Odin's just been through this enough times that he knows not to resist. And a lot of love. You know, you also have to be obviously dominant over your dog. If you are not the alpha dog, I would not try this at home, okay? You need to be the alpha dog. And people who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, if you're not the alpha dog, or if you don't know what I'm talking about, then don't try this at home, okay? Because the dog has to not only trust you, but needs to be obviously subservient to you in a very kind, loving way, but also a very, like, you know, powerful way. I'm gonna get into his neck here as far as I can. Sometimes I pull the skin to get to where I want. The Newfoundland skin is kind of loose sometimes, so I just sometimes have to pull it. It's just easier. See what I do, and you just pull it to get where you want. Last time I cut him, I did his ears. I do like to get under his ears because it mats up under his ears a lot. So I try to get, once again, I try to get as much as I can near his head. Let's do a cleanup around here. Odie, give me all this hair. What are you doing with all that hair? Give me that hair. Put your head up. Chin up, chin up, chin up, chin up. Give me all that. Now here his fur, his hair on the, I'm gonna brush these out. When I flip him over, I'm gonna brush him on the other side as well, so that that's all brushed out real good. Same thing with this one. That way by the end, he's all doggy daycared here. And let's see. Another thing is he'll lick the tops of his, he'll lick the top of his arms. So I grab his arm, everything above this first knuckle, and just zoop, zoop, just get a little bit like that, because he will, I notice he will chew at his front of his arm. The other one I'll get when I flip him over, because it's easier to get. So you can see I've gotten everything just about there is to get on this side. Let's make a few minor little, yeah. And then let's get the back. I'm going to turn you over around here a little bit. Okay. When you're doing the back here, make sure you get past this, just past, or at least up to, but just past his spinal. You can feel his spine right here. When you flip him over, obviously you got to be up to that spine, or else you're going to have to come back to this side and do it again. And I only want to flip him once. Odin does not like to be flipped over. That's probably his least favorite part is getting flipped over. He hates it. Odin was in a car wreck when he was young. He was so good off the leash. I had him trained, and he'd follow me around, and we were out playing in the snow, and then he saw a squirrel and chased after it, and this just happened a block away, and then he ran off. I couldn't find him. Next thing I know, 2 girls show up at my door and saying they hit my dog, and he could barely walk. I had to carry him outside to pee. It was terrible, terrible, terrible night. And ever since then, he's been really gun shy. He's pretty much scared of everything. He's kind of a scaredy cat. But he's a very good dog. Another thing is that these clippers get kind of hot. Take it and put it to your own arm. You'll see how hot that gets. That's why I like to let it cool. I use the Kroger bags here to scoop all this into, and I give the blades a couple minutes. During my clean cycles, I'm giving the blade a couple minutes to cool down. Because eventually, by the time you're doing the other side, it will get hot. And if it's too hot for your arm, test it on your arm. If it's too hot for you, it's too hot for him. If anything, he's probably, well, I don't know if dogs are more or less sensitive, but I figure they at least feel what we feel, if not more. So, it's a good way to be safe. Like I said, I'm not a vet, but I don't want to subject my dog to anything that I wouldn't want to subject myself to. Okay, so this side is done, and we're at what, 20 minutes? I said earlier it's going to take about 45 minutes to shave a dog down. if you know what you're doing. Well, Vec maybe can do it even quicker. But, so he's ready to flip at this point. I'm gonna show you how to flip them here. Let's back up the camera a little so you can see this. Stay. Okay. Hello. All right, now we're gonna flip them. What I do, oh boy. What I'm gonna do is you gotta get him on his side here, right? And I'm gonna, well, kind of like you would be hog-tied. Grab hands and feet here. And I'm gonna do it pretty quick here because he don't like it. So I'm gonna see if I can do it pretty quick. If he resists, sometimes he struggles out of it, and then he gets up, and then I make him sit down, and then make him sit down the other way. I have about a 50% chance of getting him to flip this way. So if I do it quick, he might let me do it. We'll see here. Let's flip. Oh, good boy. Good boy. And then he can just push up. Oh, it's okay. Come over here. I'm going to slide him a little. There we go. He's about 130 pounds. You're okay. Good boy. Yeah, you're okay. Give him some love. Give him some comfort. Good boy. Yeah. Good job. Good job. Now, lay down. Stay. So, that's good. Now, woo! After you're done, you definitely want to get a shower because you'll have hair in your mouth. All right, here we go. I'm going to move the camera because we're going to pretty much duplicate this process on the other side. I might just do this section without talking, and then fast forward the camera where it goes doo 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 doo. Let's see. You can see right here he's got a little, almost got developing a hot spot right here on this side. So that pretty much syncs up with, as soon as he starts itching and licking, scratching, he's ready for a shaving because it's just, he gets too hot. You know, these are northern dogs. They're made for well, that's why they're from Newfoundland, I guess. You know, that's way up north, right? Over in Europe, but these are northern dogs, and Cincinnati, Ohio is a pretty temperate climate, and their undercoats are not made to live here, honestly. So do the good thing, get your dog shaved down. The dog will love you for it. Some people will be on a walk and they'll say, is that a Newfoundland? Because they're not sure, because we're like, yeah, we cut them down. Because it almost looks like a big old Labrador or something. They are absolutely magnificent, though. In the winter, I let him grow out, and he's an absolutely magnificent coat of hair. They do. And then in the spring, the first cut of the spring is a big one. I will fill up 2 Kroger bags easy with hair, and that's compacted. Here's another hot spot. not really a hot spot. It would be a hot spot. If I didn't cut him down within a week or two, that would be a hot spot. Let's put it that way. And what does the vet do? The first thing the vet does when they've got a hot spot, they pull out the shears and they shave the area, and then they give them some medicine. But here you end up short-circuiting that whole process. You shave them down, let it cool down, let it dry out. Saves you a lot of vet bills. Test the heat. It's getting a little hot, so let's do a cleanup cycle. Dogs need an alpha dog, by the way. Dogs are not happy without an alpha dog. If you're not the alpha dog, they will be the alpha dog, and you're in for a rough ride, a lot of headache and heartache. Or you can be the alpha dog and you can have a wonderful, well-behaved, loving pet who loves you and respects you and is obedient, and they love that. They love that because it makes them safe, makes them feel safe and comfortable and loved. But when they challenge your authority, sometimes you do gotta lay the smack down, because I never would hit my dog or anything, but I have grabbed him by the scruff and tackled him to show my dominance. I actually only had to do that once, I think, when he was little, and that was pretty much was over with at that point real quick. Look. Oh, if your thing has 2 speeds, I would go with the lower speed here. And I finished the back section here, so let's do the front. We'll start with the sternum. Draw a line up the sternum. Go up to the armpit, but be very careful. Do not push hard in the armpit. Once again, another sensitive skin area, so be very gentle there. Remember I said I'd get the top of his arms. I'm gonna zoom you in a little bit closer here, just to him again. I want you to be able to see this. So I'm gonna grab his arm. Remember, he doesn't like this, but I'm gonna get the tops of his arms there. And I'm going to do his shoulder. Do the easy parts first. You know, don't get whatever's easy, do it first. Now, the back is the easiest part, but I do that last just because it's so easy, it's ridiculous. But, you know, here I did the easy part. So now that the easy part's done, now here I've got a groove here. So now I've got to try to grab his arm and kind of work this groove here, because it just does not contour well with the blade. So I'm going to try it from a couple different angles. Just try to, because I don't want to poke him. So I just want to get his armpit there without too much chaos. Now I didn't get all of that. You know, there's a little bit left, but at the end of it all, you won't notice that. Always do a couple, there's always room for a few little touch-ups here and there. The other reason to do the easy parts first is it gives you visibility. The longer the dog's hair is, the harder it is to see their skin, and you need to be able to see their skin because you can't always feel the contour. The more you can see their skin, kind of the easier it is to choose your angle and follow the contour. If you don't follow the contour, you're going to poke them with the blades they're kind of sharp. Not super sharp, but I mean, I wouldn't want to be poked in a sensitive area with the... Okay. I'm going to do his back here. Like I said, start with the back. First time you start doing this. I think also when I first started doing this, I would have my wife kind of pet the dog and just keep the dog calm while I worked. She would just kind of pet the animal. So that's a good idea as well. Here, let's get rid of his mane. So now, the blade's kind of hot. Let's do a clean up here. While I'm cleaning up, I also shave his tail and his arms here. By the end of it all, 98% of the hair will be in the Kroger bag, and then I'll vacuum up the last 2% once we're all done. Good boy. Good boy. So I just scoop most of it with my hand, and then I come back with the in here, and I just scoop it up. I'm just using a one of these combs. Okay. We are almost done, believe it or not. Let me do a few touch-ups here and there. And there'll be one last thing we do where I'm going to make him sit up, and so I can do check around his head for the cut around his head to make sure, because that is an area, if you have a little bit of hair right here, nobody's going to notice. But if you mess up around his head, you know, like let's say it's unlevel, well, that's right where people see the dog. So it's a high visibility spot, so we need to check that, and you can't really check it when the dog is laying down. Okay? So here's what we're going to do for that, and then we'll be done pretty much here. Good boy, Odie. No. Stay. So I'm going to move the camera here before I do this. Alright, so this is where we're going to check his neck, and actually, you know what, while he's down here, I'm just going to clip his nails real quick while he's in a very submissive state right here. Let's just go ahead and clip his nails. Make sure the underside of his nails are, see the way I messed that up? I use the round clippers, but I also use the scissors if I need them. He has 4. There we go. Come on. I also cut the fur on the bottom of his feet. They do not like when you cut the fur on the bottom of their feet. It's very sensitive, their feet. If you do this, they will drag in less mud into the house when it's rainy. It also gives them more traction, so they're less likely to pull their claws out and mess up your hardwood floors. So definitely cut all this hair. You can see him moving his arm because jitters, because he doesn't like it. He's scared, but I've never heard him doing this. It's just so darn sensitive for him that I think it's almost like an involuntary reaction he has to it. So I just get, once again, I don't get 100%. I get the 95%. I'm happy to take my win here. Hey, quiet. Odin, stay. So here I can see also he's been a bad boy. He's been digging. And there's a hole out back. I know exactly where he's been digging. And I can see from his claws that he's been digging, because he's got muddy claws. But that's what they like to do. There's also the dew claw. It's not as mandatory to get that. Sometimes I just skip it, you know, but you do have to keep it, I guess, reasonable. Do his back claws here. Okay. I know I said I was going to do this in another video, but I just really want to get it done here. How to clip your dog's nails. I think that's probably just a lot easier. Okay. So, let's do your nails here. Thing about the nails is, if you cut too much, they gonna bleed, and it ain't good. And it's messy. I just nip the, you know, I kind of know how often to cut and how much to cut. I also cut at an angle. I don't cut all the way across, you know. You can always just cut off a little, but you also kind of want to be quick about it. Once again, if you're nervous, they will be nervous. So that's it for that. Okay. The last stage here, I want to check his neck. Make sure his neckline is good. Okay. And I'm going to check the rest of them too. Okay. So I say, oh, okay, sit up, sit, stay. He always wants to move. Stay, right here, stay. Let me check you out. Okay. So you can see here, it's not level. This is a mess right here, and it's obviously a highly visible area here. So I'm going to straighten this up, because it's a very important place. Everybody cuts the dog around his neck, and if that was unlevel, it would just be really bad. So there might be other little spots here. Like you see right here on his shoulder, there's a little spot. Odin, chin up. So now I'm pushing his chin up. Chin up, good boy. Stay. I'm going to grab his snout here. And just because the reason I do this is because he's got a lot of loose skin around his neck that can get infected. And it's very hot, and you know, there's a lot of very loose skin that got to keep that cool, you know. I'm sure he appreciates it as well. And then what I do is, Odin, up, stay. Now this is called a stand stay for the people that do dog training. You teach your dog to stand stay. And what I'm doing here is, they do this in dog training school. It's the same thing as a stay, but it's a standing stay. And I use it just to make sure here I missed a spot. It's a really great way to, you don't want to keep them in a stand stay for a very long amount of time, but it's very good for just a once over, just to make sure we didn't miss any major spot, anything major. Now let me do the back of them here, stay. Right here. So now, and anything, the grooves, if you miss anything small, honestly, within a day or two, it all kind of, when it starts to grow back, it kind of levels itself back out. Wow, he's being real good. Patrick just walked by. And now I say, Odin, shake it off. Good boy. Good job. And that's how you shave your Newfoundland. Thanks.